record. Okay, so everybody will have to click got it. And welcome to our freezer meal workshop. It is so excited to be having you all here today. Those of you who are joining the recording, I'm Sam Thomas, and I have Linda McGuire and Christina joining me today. I'm actually going to pin spotlight myself for everybody. That way you guys can see it. Feel free, if you guys want to mute yourself, if you have a lot of background noise, go ahead and do that. If not, we'll take questions and pop in and things like that. For those of you watching the recording, feel free to drop any questions in the comments or contact whoever invited you for questions. So we are going to get started, and I like to go over a few housekeeping tips before we get started with our freezer meal workshops. And one of those is, if you are doing this at home and watching us, I recommend that you grab your garbage can and put it nearby, or have some sort of big bowl that you can throw all your scraps into as you are making everything. It makes it a little bit easier than running back and forth to your garbage can, wherever it is. And as well, I recommend having maybe some sort of wipes or a dishcloth nearby. So if you do spill something on your surface or between meals, between prepping meals, you can wipe it down and just have that fresh, easy cleanup. Okay, so we are going to start off tonight with our Greek chicken kebabs. So this is a new one for our freezer meal workshops, something that we haven't done before. And so I'm kind of excited. I got some feedback from some people that have already participated in the workshop and have already eaten them, and they said they were delicious. So we are going to start, and what you need for this, I'm going to ask you guys to grab your ingredients for it. So you're going to need 2 pounds of boneless, skinless chicken breasts. And that should be pre-cut into 1-inch cubes. If you didn't have a chance to pre-cut it, that's okay. If you're watching the recording, oh, sorry guys. I don't know why that went off. If you're watching the recording, go ahead and pause the recording and start cutting those up. And if you haven't already, if you're on the workshop here, then go ahead and start cubing those up as we're talking about what else we need. You are going to need disposable foil trays, 8 to 10 wooden skewers, and damp from water. So I have mine soaking in a bowl right now. So you can grab those and put them in a bowl or a dish, a casserole dish of sorts that they fit in. And you have the Pampered Chef ones, right? Yeah. I couldn't find mine to pull them out, and it's like the one time I'm like, yeah, I need these. So Pampered Chef, Linda, do you want to come off mute and talk about these really quick?
Yeah, these are the ones that go in the air fryer.
I love it.
Yeah, so I'm gonna put these, I'm using these, and I'm just gonna make them tomorrow night for dinner.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I'm actually just gonna slide these in a Ziploc bag.
I would recommend that if you are making this, sorry guys, I was covering the birds, hopefully they'll be a little quieter. If you are making this for today, it is one of those recipes that's great to just eat this week. It's probably better to throw it in the fridge and just use it in the next day or two, because it's going to be delicious. So let's go get started. Oh, and then you need your skewers. You need 2 zucchini. I did not have zucchini in my store, so I actually got yellow squash. So you guys can play around with this recipe. It doesn't have to be exact. You can kind of mix it up a little bit depending on what produce you have and what season it is. You need your 2 large red onions, 2 red bell peppers, 36 whole or green or black olives, which I will admit right here, we don't like olives. Well, I don't like olives in my house, so we're not making those on ours. But again, you can kind of adapt to what your family likes. Your olive oil, your lemon juice, and then your Greek rubs. So make sure you have your rubs out. And we are ready to go. So we are going to get started with making the marinade mixture for this recipe. And there's a couple different ways you can do this. If you are a Pampered Chef junkie and you have some tools in your kitchen, some things that you can use are the manual food processor. You can use the measure, mix, and pour, Or if you have already gotten our new Flex Plus, you can go ahead and use that to mix this up as well. If you do not have any of those tools at home, that is okay. You can go get that old fashioned mixing bowl and a whisk and go ahead and make it mixed up that way. So you are going to need your measuring cups. Pull mine out. There we are. Oh, give me 1 second, guys. I pulled out a ton of measuring cups, but not the one that I needed. The joys of doing this in our own kitchens, like it makes it so much easier to just go grab something. Okay, so I am choosing to do this in the manual food processor today. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna measure these ingredients into the manual food processor. And the first ingredient is going to be your 1/2 cup of olive oil. So go ahead and grab your olive oil, measure it. I'm using an easy read measuring cup, which is fabulous because I don't need to get down on the floor to see. You guys can see that it measures it from the side and makes that a lot easier to use, especially when you are working in a hurry. So pour that into your manual food processor, your mixing bowl, whatever you are using to mix this up today. Then you are going to use 1/2 cup of lemon juice. Okay, so some of you may have purchased some lemon juice. Some of you might be using fresh lemons, which I'm going to show you because I personally love cooking with fresh lemon juice, how to do this. And you guys can do this at home. But for those of you at home watching, if you have pre-purchased lemon juice all ready to go, you're going to need 1/2 cup of lemon juice. So today I'm going to show you how to use one of my absolute favorite tools, and that's the citrus press. You can also use a juicer if you have a juicer. We do have a really fabulous juicer zester combo now, but this is a staple in my house. So citrus press is great for cooking with fresh citrus, as well as making some great fresh drinks, beverages, cocktails, or mocktails. When you're using it, you actually are going to cut your citrus in half, like I did, and you're going to put the flat side down in your citrus press, flat side down. You're going to take that and squeeze it into your measuring cup. And voila. So what I love about the Pampered Chef Citrus Press is that it almost completely inverts the rind of the citrus that you're working with. And so you don't have a lot of juice left over. With other brands, I sit there like trying to squeeze out some extra juice because it really wouldn't get everything. You also don't have to worry about the seeds falling in and all that good stuff. So we're going to go ahead and squeeze that. 1 lemon, if you have a regular size lemon, is about 1/4 cup. Okay, guys, I would say that that's pretty tried and true. We make a lot of beverages and use a lot of lemon juice in our house. So when we're making our drinks and everything, that's about what it is. So I'm going to take another lemon and squeeze it to get me to 1/2 cup. Linda,
I was going to share a little tip.
Yeah.
So if you look at this lemon, you see how much rind is on that lemon? Like there's not a lot of juice going to come out of that lemon because it's got so much rind on it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really hard to buy lemons that have a thin rind when they've been picked too soon. And you know that they've been picked too soon when they have these big nipples on them. So do you see that big, how big that is? So always try to find, literally I had to buy a bag of lemons because they didn't have any loose lemons at where I was, but this is what you get when you buy lemons that have the big thick nipple on them. When you have the thinner one, so those are much better. So it's probably the one in your right hand, you'll probably get more out of. And it also depends on if you squeeze it. Like when I squeeze this one, it's hard as a rock. So those are 2 different tips. The other thing is if they do have big nipples on them and you're using your citrus press, I do just kind of shave it off so that it doesn't skew when you put it in the citrus press.
I think I need to order the citrus press.
I think you probably do there, girlfriend.
Do you see me like squeezing it?
Yes. So Christina makes a great point. So if you guys are joining us today and maybe you have a little notebook or a Post-it note or something, I recommend grabbing a piece of paper and a pen or something like that, just to write down little things that you're like, oh, that might be really helpful with my meal prep in the future. That's a great tip I have. And then you can work with your consultant to find the best way for you to get a great deal on those. Okay, so after you've added your half a cup of lemon juice, you're now going to add Greek rub. Okay, so you're going to grab your Greek rub that came with your freezer meal workshop registration. And little tip here, and I love this tip because I hate doing dishes, more dishes than I have to. I hate trying to find, one measuring spoon that my kids don't put away in the right place. So when I'm doing my freezer meal workshops, I will tell you a little quick tad tip that a capful of our standard size spices is approximately a tablespoon. So all you need to do is take 4 capfuls of the Greek rub and throw it into the manual food processor or your bowl. And voila, we're going to close that up. Salt and pepper to taste. Again, great tool. I love my salt and pepper grinder from Pampered Chef. The reason I love it, and it took me a really long time to get because I didn't know this little secret, is it doesn't actually have the grinder all the way through the base or the container. It's all down at the bottom, so it makes it really easy to refill. Beautiful stainless steel. These things twist on, and I will tell you, they're pretty durable because my kids have dropped them on the floor quite a few times. And then you're going to take this, if you're using your manual food processor today, mix it up. If you are at home, take your whisk. If you don't have one of these, mix it up that way. If you're using the Flex, go ahead and run that battery powered handle or shake that measure, mix, and pour. Okay, makes this beautiful, beautiful marinade. I gotta show you guys this because it's just like the consistency is awesome. I love that. And we're going to put that into our bag of chicken. That is the cube chicken. You're going to throw that in your refrigerator. What we are actually going to do tonight is we are going to put this chicken in the refrigerator and then come back to finish this recipe, okay? Because it wants it to marinate for 30 minutes. And we'll come back and finish cutting up the veggies and assembling this at the end of the workshop. So go ahead, close up that bag with your cube chicken and the marinade. Want to squeeze it in and throw it in your refrigerator. Okay, so now that part is done, we will wait again. I told you to grab all the stuff, but put those vegetables aside in a pile, and we're going to go ahead and come back to that recipe and cutting that up and assembling our kebabs once we get to the end of that workshop and that chicken is ready to go. So before we move on to our next recipe, I recommend taking the tools, giving them a quick wipe down, moving the stuff out of your area, and getting ready for our next recipe, which is the jerk chicken with habanero sauce. So you're going to need your boneless, skinless chicken breasts, as well as your olive oil and Jamaican jerk seasoning. You will use your habanero sauce, your raspberry habanero sauce on cooking day for this. So you do not necessarily need to open that tonight. Okay, so I'm going to take this, move it over to the sink, wash up. my cutting board. So I am spoiled in my house and have multiple cutting boards and cutting mats. So what I'm gonna get to do tonight is move this one over and pull out a new one. So our flexible cutting mats are really quite fabulous little tools to have in the kitchen. They come in a set of 3 in 2 different sizes. And you can use those for things like this, meal prep, or they come in 3 different colors. So you can always have one designated for meat, veggies, and fruits, and decipher them that way. And they're really great little things to just make your meal prep easy by putting them flat on the counter. So your next recipe is going to need your gallon Ziploc of your chicken, 4 to 8 boneless, skinless chicken breasts. I recommend grabbing a large bowl, like a large mixing bowl or a container, and you can put your bag of chicken in it, because as you're adding stuff, it allows it to stay upright. And if it does fall over, it falls over in the bag instead of spilling all over your counter. So grab those chicken breasts here. And if you have them in your bag already, that is great. If you don't, this is a great time if you're doing this at home to throw them in the bag. That way you can wash your hands and keep everything separate, the meat and vegetable portion. So let's go ahead and get our stuff ready. I'm a frequent hand washer during these workshops, guys, so you'll see me going back and forth to my sink, which is across the kitchen. So when you have your bag of your boneless, skinless chicken breasts, you are going to take your Jamaican jerk seasoning. If you're putting this into 2 bags, you really can split this if you have a smaller family, or maybe you're a empty nester. You can really split these recipes in half, but you're going to add 2 to 3 tablespoons of Jamaican jerk seasoning. And if you're going to put it in 2 bags, you'll divide it, but I'm going to put all of mine in 1. And again, you can do 3 capfuls, or I will say our measuring spoons are fabulous and they fit great in these spice containers. And I feel like I actually won't do it justice if I don't just show it off. Yeah. They fit into these containers. They're narrow enough that you really can get them into to use them. And I love it for when I'm using them for recipes like spices, like cinnamon and nutmeg, where you only need that little bit of amount and they fit really well. So I have that Jamaican jerk seasoning in there. I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Any sort of cooking oil will really do. And I'm actually going to use my little mini easy read measuring cup for this, which goes up to 4 tablespoons. And I'm going to go ahead and add, close this up. Oh, you can add salt and pepper to taste. I'm not going to personally add any more salt and pepper. I'm going to go ahead and put this on. And Christina, I'm going to put you on mute for a minute just because when we're recording, I think it keeps popping up with you. So if no, you're fine, no problem. I'm just gonna, if you need anything, come off mute. Don't feel bad. You definitely can. Okay, cool. So close up your bag. Get as much air out as possible. That is going to help keep your food a little bit fresher longer in the freezer. And you're going to need your ingredients together. The oil and the seasonings. Okay, and then you're going to decide at this point the best way for you to freeze this. Okay, so I'm going to give you some tips on freezing. If you are someone who maybe forgets to pull stuff out of the freezer or wants to thaw stuff a little bit quicker, I recommend thawing stuff flat or freezing stuff flat here. That way, when you lay it out, it thaws a little bit quicker. It also can stack nicely in your freezer. If you're someone that cooks from frozen, you can take your meat and kind of shape it into whatever cooking vessel you're going to put it in. So I have to look really quick at what we're cooking this one in. I cannot remember. This is on the grill pan. So I would, this is on the grill or the grill pan or the griddle. So I would recommend storing this one flat if you have the freezer space. It's going to help thaw it out quicker and put it on the grill easily and be ready to go. You're going to want to take your double bag for this. And I highly, highly recommend a double bag because when you're thawing stuff, sometimes these bags, even though they're freezer bags, can be a mess. If you're trying to save your freezer bags, you can always get just regular gallon storage bags that are a little less expensive and put that as your second bag on there. You're going to take your Sharpie and label it jerk chicken with habanero. You're going to want to put your freeze date on it. And your freezer guide for these they typically are good for about 3 months in your regular conventional freezer and 4 to 6 in a deep freezer. Okay. So I can guarantee most of you will use these within the next month here, but it's always important to put a freeze date on things. That way, if it gets lost in the back or bottom of your freezer, you know exactly when you made it. And then you're going to go ahead and go to the back of our packet and you'll have your cooking day instructions starting on page 11. Okay, you're going to cut out your cooking day instructions. You can put your freeze date on that as well, if you would like. I always love to put my cooking day instructions into a sandwich bag, which I thought I pulled mine out. Oh, yep, they're right here. Because that way my directions don't get all gooped up when things are defrosting or when I'm cooking on cooking day. And it's a really great way to know exactly what you're going to need when you pull it out. So serving suggestions with this recipe are going to be a side salad and some dinner rolls. I actually probably would also make maybe some sauteed Brussels sprouts. That would go really well, or air fried Brussels sprouts with it. So I'm going to throw that now in the second bag. I closed mine up before I threw this in. And that is on top so you can see exactly what you've made and when. Okay. Okay, so once you cook these guys, you're going to add and drizzle your raspberry habanero sauce over it. You probably will not use your entire container of raspberry habanero. And if you don't, that's okay, because this is a fabulous sauce to put over cream cheese, to put over brie cheese and bake it. I also love putting this over vanilla ice cream. So there's a few tips on things that you can also use raspberry habanero sauce for. And go ahead and throw that recipe in your freezer. Okay, how's everybody doing? I think if you're joining me live, we're going to move on to our honey mustard salmon or chicken. Honey mustard salmon or chicken. And you're going to need to grab your salmon fillets. If you do not like salmon, you can use chicken. And I also have had a recommendation from a freezer meal workshop guest that she did this with pork and it tasted delicious. So lots of different options to, again, change up this meal to fit your family, to fit your taste, and really to just be versatile for a make it again meal. So you're going to get your salmon or your chicken. You're going to get your honey and your apple cider vinegar. Okay. This recipe, you're going to need a prep bowl or a mixing bowl. And I would recommend, if you have one, to grab a a measure all cup. We have lots of measuring cups. Measure all cup. And guys, you're going to want to write this one down because this is a staple in your kitchen. And it is something that is just so great to have for things like honey and peanut butter and yogurt and mayonnaise and sour cream when you're cooking with those things, because it makes it super easy to get it out. And then you're going to need your Dijon mustard rub. So grab those things, put them in place, have them ready to go. Mise en place, everything in its place to get started. So I'm going to grab mine. Okay. So to get started, you are going to need 2 tablespoons of honey. And actually, I think I used this just today. It may have gotten put in the dishwasher. Linda, do you have your little mini measure all, your petite one out? No, I found mine. Yep. Okay. Yep. So we have lots of different sizes for our measure alls. We have a regular measure all, we have a mini measure all, and we have a petite measure all. They have liquid measures and solid measures, so you guys can play around with it. And we're going to need 2 teaspoons of honey. So if you have one of these, I'm going to show you why I love it. You're going to put your honey into the measure all.
2 tablespoons.
2 tablespoons. Yep. Sorry. 2 tablespoons. That's what I mean. Awesome. Thanks, Linda. And
Like I was panicking because I put 2 tablespoons and you said 2 teaspoons. I'm like, oh crap.
And you guys can see on here that when I turn it over into my bowl, it plops right out, and then I'm not scraping honey out of a measuring cup. Okay, so that makes things really easy. I'm also going to now take my 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar, and I'm going to use the same thing on the liquid side.
Turn it over and use the other side.
Turn it over, use my other side. You guys see that? I wanted to get the honey totally off this side. I didn't have my scraper out.
Oh, I used my whisk. You're dripping.
Yep. And so I'm going to do that. So 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. And then your 2 or 3 tablespoons of Dijon mustard rub. Another rub that is really yummy to kind of put into a marinade like this is our South Carolina barbecue rub. Okay, so that is another one that tastes really good and can mix up this recipe a little bit. 3 tablespoons or 3 caps of mustard rub, and you're going to whisk that together. I'm using a 2-cup prep bowl. These do come with lids. They're really fabulous for little things like this, and perfect. We do have a mini whisk that would also go really well to make this recipe. Okay, so once you have made your rub or your marinade mixture, you are going to open your gallon freezer bag with your salmon, chicken, or pork, and you're going to put it over that. So some tips: if you have salmon, I would say that if you have those individually wrapped salmon and you have not already defrosted it or whatever, you can add this on cooking day. You really can. You can put this mixture in, throw it in the bag with those individually wrapped salmon, and that way you're not having to worry about salmon's a soft fish and can fall apart pretty easily. You don't want to massage it too hard, and you can do that for this particular recipe as well. Okay. Any other suggestions, Linda, on this one? No. Okay. So I'm going to take most of it with my whisk, and then you can grab your scraper that you have at your house. If you have your awesome Pampered Chef scrapers that scrape that bowl well, you can take that. I'll grab mine out and show you guys it later. I have a lot of them actually. Okay, and then you're going to massage that, knead it into your protein, and close up the bag, get as much air out of and then knead it in, and then you're gonna double bag again. Okay, so you'll label it with your salmon mixture, your salmon, honey mustard salmon. And I'm gonna actually grab mine because mine are frozen. And do exactly what I told you guys. I'm gonna take my mixture, I have it closed in one bag. I'm gonna put my salmon that are individually wrapped in with them. Close it up. Oh, not close it up yet. You're gonna add your cooking day instructions. This one, I believe, is going to be on page 12 of your freezer meal workshop packet. And I would definitely add to your list of what to serve with this on your serving suggestions, green beans or asparagus. Those are things that I would love to add with these, with this recipe. Again, side salad dinner rolls are always a great staple, but green beans and asparagus are also another great option. Once again, your freezer recommendations are to keep for about 3 months in your regular freezer at most and 4 to 6 in a deep freezer. Put your freeze date on your bag. And throw it in your freezer. Okay. How are we doing? Christina, are you keeping up okay? A thumbs up, awesome. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and clean up my area again. And for those of you who are ready to move on to the next one, we are going to be doing teriyaki burgers next. You are going to need 2 pounds of ground beef or ground turkey. You will need a half a cup of mayonnaise, wax paper, and if you are queasy around putting meat on stuff, you're going to want to grab some plastic gloves for yourself. And you're going to need your teriyaki sauce for this. So I'm going to clean up my area really quick. And grab my meat out of the fridge. Linda, I have my burger and slider press lent out to somebody. Are you using yours tonight? No, okay, then I will show the old fashioned way.
I can, but I don't use them when I make these burgers.
Okay.
Because I just make the big balls and then I smash them.
Yep, that's fine. That's what I'm gonna show everybody how to do tonight.
Okay.
Perfect. Okay, so what you guys are gonna want is you're gonna need a batter bowl or a mixing bowl. So you guys can grab whatever you prefer. I'm gonna use one of my mixing bowls that is, actually I'm gonna switch to my batter bowl because I wanna use that to stack my other things in. Love showing these batter bowls because they nest together. We have a 4 cup and an 8 cup batter bowl. You're gonna go ahead and start by grabbing your mayonnaise and teriyaki sauce and mixing it in your batter bowl. Okay, so your teriyaki sauce is one that comes from Pampered Chef, and it is delicious. You are not going to use this all tonight, and so this is a great one to add to stir fries. You can put it in a quick cooker, pressure cooker with chicken and make some rice steamed with it, and that is a delicious, delicious recipe. Serve it with some snow peas or edamame, broccoli. Lots of different options to use this with afterwards. This is another great opportunity to use your measure all cup because, again, this is one of those things that if you're measuring with spoons or tablespoons, that it's going to be harder to scrape out of that spoons. So you're gonna need 4 tablespoons of teriyaki sauce. So I just did 4 and 6. There we go. And then you're going to need your 1/2 cup of mayonnaise. Again, I'm going to use my mini measure all for this one to get to my 1/2 cup. Show you guys how easy it is to get this out in my measuring cup with my scraper. Dropping stuff on my counter. And we're gonna plop that in. So you guys are gonna see me turn this over again and take that scraper. And then you can use your mix-in scraper, is a great one for this, to scoop the mayonnaise out, scoop it off your measure all, and then you can mix up your sauce with it. Okay. Grab my wipes here, wipe my hands, my area before I get the meat going. Okay, so once you have that mixed up, you are going to add your meat to that. So you're gonna want 2 pounds of ground turkey, ground beef. And I also have had somebody recommend mixing a pound of ground pork with a pound of ground turkey before to go with that teriyaki. That tastes really great, and have some pork burgers. So again, just some suggestions for mixing it up in the future, or if you are going to make this recipe again. You're going to open up your meat. And put it in your bowl. And this is where it's going to get messy. Take off your rings if you haven't already. You're not wearing gloves. And you're going to mix this up together with that. One thing that I really do recommend, and if you've followed me on freezer meal workshops before, is I love adding an egg to my mixture of my burgers. I feel like it really holds them together better, especially if you're using ground turkey. Ground turkey is one of those mixtures that just kind of doesn't have that fat to hold it together. And so those burgers can fall apart a little easier. So I'm going to add 1 egg to my mixture personally.
But your mayonnaise can actually count as your egg this time.
Oh, well, we got double now. You're gonna mix this up.
I do that too, though. I add an egg usually.
Yeah. And this is definitely a yummy, messy burger recipe. My son's here. Go away. Go get ready for bed.
Crystal said that when she made these burgers this way, like I normally do,
Yeah.
they were very messy doing it my method.
Doing it your method?
Yeah, because of the mayonnaise,
Yeah.
but we shall see.
Yep. We'll have to see.
Yours looks very wet.
Mine is very wet.
You don't have enough meat.
I did 2 pounds. I'm following my recipe, but I'm also using the ground turkey, which I think that sometimes changes that texture a little bit.
It's wetter.
Yeah. So
Just
that egg,
go for the good stuff.
huh?
Just go for the good stuff.
I'm trying to mix it up in our house. We've done a lot of burgers lately. So we just did caprese burgers the other night, which were delicious. And you put mozzarella in the middle of it. And another idea there. Okay. So this is where, you know what, I'm just going to grab my next thing here, and I'm going to start forming my patties. So if you have a burger press at home, this is the opportunity to use yours. I'm going to take my mixture and
Hey, Sam,
yeah.
You might be able to make it thicker if you add a little breadcrumbs to it.
Oh, I wonder if I have any. Give me a second, guys.
Then it won't be as wet.
Give me a second. Let me see.
That's what I'm doing.
Okay, so if you have a really wet mixture, that's a great tip from Linda, is that you can add breadcrumbs if you have any. I don't think I do. Which is usually a staple in my house, but you know what? We're gonna do this the old-fashioned way. If you do not have breadcrumbs in your house and you have some white bread at home, you can also break up that white bread and throw it in your mixture, which gives it a great texture. You can use your manual food processor, which mine has the sauce in it. So I'm just gonna, for the sake of time, tear some of this up into my mixture here. So for those of you who are following along at home, if your meat mixture is fine, go ahead and take your burger and slider press or take your mixture and you're gonna divide it in half. And then you're gonna divide a half of a half in half. And then you're gonna divide those in half. So you're gonna have 8 burgers total for this recipe. And when you're layering them in your bag, you can either put them in 2 separate bags, or you can layer them in 1 bag and put a piece of wax paper or parchment paper in between them. So those are some ways that you can stack them up and get them ready to go. You can also store them in freezer. We have some great freezer dishes, and those are big enough that you could honestly put our largest one, layer them on each other and pull them out and freeze them. Our leak-proof glass containers. So mix this up here. Okay, cool. And let's get messy again. Okay. So I'm going to take half of my mixture again. And then I'm going to divide this half in half to do my best to get good size, even burgers. So you guys can see me. And you're going to round them out into a ball. And I'm going to grab my parchment because these are just going to need to be. Here we go. Okay, parchment paper, and you're going to round them out, flatten them out a little bit. If you are someone who, again, maybe is trying to do portion sizes or has younger kids that won't eat a whole burger, you can also do these in slider size. So it doesn't have to be exactly 8 burgers. Use your judgment based on what your family needs. And parchment paper. Grab this without getting anything else. So there's 4. I'm going to pile my parchment paper on top. Take my other half of this mixture and divide that half and half again, and divide that half and half. This is another great instance that these flexible cutting mats are great prep surfaces because it allows you to just plop this straight onto your counter and not have that mess. And guess what? You can then go throw that in the dishwasher and voila, cleanup is easy. If you're doing mass meal prep like this too, it helps to not have to keep cleaning up that counter every 2 seconds. Okay, put that together. And I'm going to take this stuff over to my sink wash my hands again so I can throw these in my next gallon freezer Ziploc. So if you're finishing up these patties, you can start putting those in your freezer Ziploc.
So I'll show you guys my tip on how I do this. I take my, can you see my screen here? I'm on my laptop, so it's not very good. I take my 4 balls and I put them in each corner of my bag. Can you see that? 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yep.
And then I just smash them inside the bag.
Oh, nice. So you're a 2-bag kind of person.
Yeah, I put 4 in each bag and then I just fold it over. I don't have any parchment paper in my bag.
Perfect. Okay.
So if you notice, it's like this, like they're flat now, and then I
Yeah.
just zip them up, get the air out. And then now all you have to do is fold them.
Okay. And that's easier storage.
And that's how I store them, just like that.
Perfect.
So if you usually make 4 at a time, then that's my little tip of how I do it.
Yeah, and that's a great tip, Linda, because a lot of people also tend to buy pre-made burgers at the store. And those are way more expensive than just buying that ground beef and making them yourself at home.
Yep.
And
It
you
tastes
can
better.
just store them and have them ready to pull out.
And you know that they are real meat.
Yes. Okay. So once you get that in your first, your burgers in your bags, again, push out as much air like Linda said. And you will put those in a second bag with your freezer meal cooking day instructions. I think I already cut these ones up. Put your freeze date on them. A nice, easy side with this one would be chips and fruit. Again, you could do some broccoli, air fried broccoli with this. Some nice crispy air fried broccoli would be great as well. You can do some French fries in the oven if your family prefers fries. And close that up. When you cook these, you can put them on the grill or griddle, grill and griddle, or deluxe grill and griddle, a grill pan, indoor outdoor grill, or really whatever grill you might have in your house. But some great options. I love my electric grill and griddle, the deluxe electric grill and griddle. It is just so easy to use for life. There's hubby. Hello, say hello, everybody. And the dog. Okay. And there we are. Okay, so we are already done with 3.5 recipes, guys. 3.5 recipes, not too bad. We'll help throw that in the freezer. And I'm going to recommend, again, as you're finishing this up, to start clearing off your space, to give yourself some space for our next recipe, which will be our beef fajitas with vegetables. So you're going to want your flank steak that's cut into strips. If you have not cut it into strips yet, go ahead and grab that and start doing that while we're getting everything cleared off. You're going to want your green bell pepper, red bell pepper, white onion, block of cheddar cheese, and 3 limes. So let's move this stuff over. Put mayonnaise up. And I'm gonna take my wipes, wipe down my space. Tools that are good to have for this: flexible cutting mat, a utility or a Samtoku knife, a quick slice if you have one, or a rapid prep mandolin, or if you don't have any of those, again, just your straight up kitchen utility knife or Santoku knife to slice up everything with, citrus press or a juicer, and then a grater. If you bought a block of cheese, you're going to want to have your grater out for that. Okay, so we're going to get started by, I'm going to get started by cutting up my onion, my white onion. So you'll want your carnitas slow cooker seasoning with this ready as well. Backtracking a little bit, getting those ingredients together. So here we are. We're ready to go. Okay, so cutting tips. I'm using a utility knife tonight, my stainless steel one. For those of you who have been with me in my workshops before, proper cutting is super important, being able to hold your knife correctly. So when you're holding a knife, you actually want to wrap your fingers around it. You don't want to put your finger up here, because when you do, you're leveraging your wrist rather than making the knife an extension of your arm. If you are using, and I'm going to go to my next camera, a utility knife, you're going to see a curved edge. So a utility knife or a chef's knife is going to have that edge that goes up. And when you cut, it's almost like you have an airplane going off. You're going to zoom up. If you have a flat, straight blade Santoku knife, that means you're going to cut like a train, the choo-choo trains. Okay. So those are just some quick knife tips. I love our utility, our stainless steel collection, because the tang of the knife goes all the way through the handle. I'm using one of our older versions right now, but our newer versions actually have rivets in them, because guys, trust me, you want your plane riveted and not screwed together, just like you want your knives, so they stay together and last you a long time. And these actually have a lifetime warranty on them. So great knives, great balance, and something that you definitely could use in your kitchen. So I'm going to go ahead and cut my onion. I'm going to cut the ends off and then cut it in half. Makes it super easy to peel. If you have a citrus peel or citrus and onion peel at home, you can go ahead and grab that out if you're somebody that really doesn't like peeling onion and having that scent on your hands. And that one is almost done. We are going to cut these into slices. Okay, so we'll quarter the onion and then cut it into slices. So cut it in half. Then quarters. If you have a simple slicer, you can also use that to kind of get those nice, like longer pieces that you might like for fajitas. That works great for those. And cut these again. I would say, honestly, for people watching at home, fajitas, there's no magic trick to them. You can cut the onion, you can cut these vegetables the way that your family is going to eat them. Because I think that a lot of times my family sees these big onion chunks and they'll be like, nope, I have young kids, I don't like onion. But if I cut it into smaller slivers and they don't see it as much and it kind of blends in with that beef, then it's a little bit easier for them to sneak those veggies in. So we're going to take one green bell pepper and one red bell pepper next. Okay, so I personally love, if I'm not using these for stuffed peppers, taking my bell pepper and cutting the bottom off first. I can see the seeds, I can devein it then and follow along. If you're somebody that cuts off the top first, we have a really awesome tool called a scoop loop. which helps scoop out the seeds, but it's also great for things like jalapenos. So if you're making some jalapeno poppers, or as we're getting into the fall season here, for scraping out the seeds out of pumpkins or squash, those are some really great options for that. We're gonna take this red bell pepper now, and I'm gonna use my quick slice today. Linda, did you use the quick slice? Nope. You cut with your manual food process or rapid prep mandolin. Okay, cool. Did you already do it? No. Okay. So when I'm done showing you our quick slice, I'm gonna bring, well, Linda is still on spotlight. I'm gonna have her come up and show another tool, which is awesome for slicing and dicing and every kind of prep for produce tool. So quick slice. Love this tool. Serrated blades. It is great for cutting up peppers like this into perfect slices. You can also turn them and dice them. It's great for things like eggs, like hard-boiled eggs, mushrooms, grapes, grape tomatoes. And then again, the serrated blade makes it really great for cutting tomatoes because it doesn't smash them. It also is great for some mozzarella cheese, for that caprese salad, and makes it really easy to use. And it's dishwasher safe. So this is a go-to tool in my house. And then Linda is actually going to show you her tool, which is also one of my favorites, the Rapid Prep Mandolin.
All right, so with the Rapid Prep Mandolin, there are settings that you have to set before you begin. There is a full circle over here. There is thin slices, and then there are thick slices over here. But because we're already doing something that is sliced up like this, you don't want to put it on slices. You actually want to keep it on the circle because it's actually going to slice the slices. So for peppers, I do my pepper slicing a little different than Sam. That's what's great about cooking. We do what's works for us. So I actually do not take the top off at all. I actually just take my pepper here and I go right down the sides, and that way I'm not getting any of the veins either. And then I cut off the bottom. So that's what's left over. And then you don't get all the seeds and stuff all over your counter either. So I'm going to take my Rapid Prep Mandolin here, and it has a little safety cover right here. I'm going to slide that down. Here's the holder. Going to pop that on by lifting up that little lever there. And then this is what we call our food pusher, okay? So when I do peppers, I lay them all in a line like this. So I kind of pile them in there in a big line. Can you see that? Now, I'm right-handed, so I have to do it this way. And then that way you'll at least see what comes out. So I just take my pusher, and here's my right hand on top of my slider, and you'll be able to see it work. And then I would have to say those are probably the most perfect slices for fajitas. So we're going to do the green pepper just like that. And in a matter of seconds, you have beautifully sliced up almost all the same size peppers. If I did this with my onions, though, it would dice it only because of the segments. Ooh, Wendy, you got to put the basket in there. All done. But as I said, if I did the onion, it would be in segments. So because it's in segments, it'll be all diced up, which is great if you want diced onions. You don't want that. Well, I don't want that for my fajitas. So that's it. That's our Rapid Prep onion. You can use it for potatoes and zucchini, which I think we're doing maybe later. I don't know. And then you can use it for limes. Oh my gosh. It's amazing for limes. Amazing for limes and lemons. It makes the perfect slice. Strawberry, I mean, like anything that you need sliced up or diced up, it's great for.
Awesome. Thanks, Linda, for sharing. And again, I love these workshops because everybody's meal prep needs are a little bit different. And so you get to see a lot of different tools that fit your needs of your kitchen. So once you have finished dicing up your vegetables, you're going to put them in a freezer bag separate from your meat and close that up, press that air out, and you're going to put it aside momentarily. And next you are going to get your cheese out, and we are going to show you our cheese grater. I did not pull my new one out. We have an awesome new cheese grater out, but I have my adjustable coarse grater right now. And you're going to take your cheese, your block of cheese, and shred it fresh. So personally, purchase a large block. I purchased a 16-ounce block because we use shredded cheese for everything. So these 16-ounce blocks are really, really cost effective. And we personally barely ever buy shredded cheese anymore. It cuts out a lot of that preservative quality of it. If you've ever noticed, your shredded cheese sometimes has like that powdery feeling to it, and really that is cornstarch on it to help preserve it so it keeps longer. So I recommend buying your big block and taking your coarse grater and shredding your cheese. You can also cheat, guys. I'm not going to judge you if you do buy your pre-shredded cheese. We just like to give you some options on saving on groceries and eating a little bit less processed if that's something that you prefer to do. So big tip for shredding cheese is when you're using a shredder, you don't really want to be going to the side like this. It makes it really hard. It's an awkward position. You want to actually put the grater in front of you and take your cheese and do big long strokes from the backside of the grater. So we will take half this, and I'm going to have my husband finish grating this when we're done with our workshop here. I might finish it when I'm done, but I want to get that ready to go. And this is going to go in a quart size freezer bag. If you don't have a quart size, that's okay. You can throw it in another freezer bag and it'll be fine. And you can freeze that for cooking day, or you can use it fresh. Again, decide how you guys want to do your recipes and when you want to make them. So let's grab my quart bag. Bring that cheese in there. And you guys can use any type of cheese really for your fajitas. I'm using, I believe, a medium cheddar. Colby Jack goes great. You can do some pepper jack, whatever your kind of spice your family likes to have with their fajitas, and mix it up. Okay, so that part is ready to go. Once again, I'm going to close this up and squeeze as much air out of it as possible. And I'm going to go ahead and grab the next ingredients that we need. Those are going to be your gallon Ziploc of your steak cut into strips already, your carnitas slow cooker rub, and then you're going to need your limes juiced. Okay, so I'm going to be juicing 3 limes personally. Grabbing my meat. Maybe. Hopefully got it away. Oh, there it is. Okay, this is another great instance to pull out your big mixing bowl again. Make sure your meat or your freezer bag is in there. My grocery store actually had a really good deal on pre-cut beef already, so I made my life easier tonight. But super easy to cut with our chef's knife or our Santoku knife. If you buy flank steaks, particularly when it's on sale, It is a really, really inexpensive beef and something that you can cut up really easily, okay? So you'll have your beef in there and you're going to now take your 6 tablespoons of carnitas slow cooker rub. So what you guys are gonna see with your carnitas slow cooker rub is this isn't your standard cap. So this is where you're gonna wanna pull out that measuring spoon. I do think that this cap is actually probably close to 2 tablespoons, but I have not actually measured it. So I'm gonna go the old fashioned way right now with my adjustable measuring spoon here. Great things to have in your kitchen, these adjustable measuring spoons. That way you don't have to be searching for the small or big spoons and go from there. So you're gonna need 6 tablespoons of your carnitas slow cooker rub. And I'm actually finishing up a jar of it. We'll just knock the rest of that in there. And 1, 2, 3. Okay. And then you're going to juice 3 limes in there as well. If you're somebody that is not like big into a lime flavor, this is a great place to adjust, okay? So I would say that if you're somebody that's like, I don't really love a whole lot of citrus flavor to my fajitas, I would go with maybe 1 lime, because 3 might be a little overpowering for you personally. So I grabbed my limes out here. And once again, when you're shopping for limes, very similar to lemons. Linda gave you that great tip earlier about the rind and having that nub, that nipple on it. And then I think she has one more little piece of advice when it comes to the actual feeling of the skin of the lime. Is that correct? So she'll come on here in a minute and share that with us. But while we're getting ready, I'm gonna again slice my limes in half and use my citrus press with the flat side down. I have a really nice lime with barely any rind here. And start squeezing that into my bag while Linda gives us those tips.
So for limes, it's probably different than what most people would think, but actually the lighter the lime, the better it is. The greener the lime, the thicker the rind is as well. You also want to give it a little push, wants to have a little give in it, but also look how shiny my lime is. When you buy shiny, that means it's been sitting on the tree for a while and the skin has like stretched out. So when you buy the dark green ones, make sure they have at least some light color limes, like Sam, yours has some light color green on it. Even though it's dark on one side, it still has some nice light color green. And you want to make sure no nipples and that it's very smooth, that the outside is very smooth.
Okay. I love citrus tips because going to a store, it is so hard sometimes to decide what is going to be the best option for these for purchasing citrus. And again, when you buy them in a bag, sometimes it's the luck of the draw, but if you're able to buy them individually, that is an awesome option for you to get the freshest produce possible. Okay, once you squeeze those limes in, you are going to go ahead and close that bag up. Press as much air out of it as possible and knead the mixture together. Okay, get that flavor in there. And cooking day instructions for this will be on page 13. Serving suggestions are going to be to serve it definitely with some guacamole, sour cream, maybe some prepared salsa, pico, And then a fresh fruit salad on the side is also really yummy. Some pineapple or whatever you can find that's in season near you. Oranges, maybe a nice fresh margarita is a good one to put on that cooking day instructions list to get yourself prepared. And that is what I would make with this particular recipe. So once you have finished prepping all the pieces, you're going to take your storage bag and put your meat in your storage bag, your next gallon bag. You're going to put your vegetables. And then you're going to put your cheese. Again, the recommendation for cooking this is going to be on the grill or the cast iron skillet. I also don't mind if you have a rock crock. This one's a nice rock crock recipe too. You can throw that meat in. And I would say when it's defrosted, it would easily be done in 8 to 10 minutes. And that would be plenty of time. And take your cooking day instructions. Put your freeze date on it. And again, for those of you who are new to the workshop, freeze date and how long these keep, it's usually about 3 months in your regular freezer and 4 to 6 in a deep freezer. Again, it probably depends on how much you open your freezer, how cold your freezer actually stays, and how old it is. Sometimes our older ones may start running out. Okay. Obviously, you'll want tortillas with these. If you purchase your flour tortillas for this workshop and you're not going to eat these right away, go ahead and throw those tortillas in the freezer with them. They will be, they freeze really well. So that is our 4th recipe. And throw that in the freezer. Do I have any questions so far? Nope. Okay. How are we doing with keeping up? Thumbs up. Give me a sign. Good. Thumbs up. Love it. Okay. So we're getting on to that last recipe, guys. So go ahead. You're going to need a cutting mat and your vegetables and a knife pretty much for this. We're going to clean up the rest of our work stuff so we can get started finishing that up and clear some space for assembling our kebabs. Okay. Stuff out of the way. Okay, so for your kebabs, guys, you're gonna want to grab your foil pan and I stepped on something. It was like spiky in my foot. You are going to want to grab your chicken back out of your fridge and have that ready to go. Your skewers. And don't open up that chicken yet because we have to cut up some vegetables, but get your area ready. The produce, once again, that you're going to need for this recipe. I had you guys pull it out earlier, but in case you got it all mixed in with everything, like I didn't lose my instructions now. Well, I did. They fell on the floor somewhere. You guys are going to need your zucchini, 2 zucchinis, and 2 red peppers. And you're going to need, I believe it was 2 red onions. So grab those things out, have them ready to go. And your olives, if you're using olives. Okay, let me double check for my, I'm gonna wing it. There's really no exact science to this part of the recipe. So here we go. Okay, so we're gonna start and we're gonna take our onion and you're going to put this into wedges. So you're gonna cut your onion ends off I usually like to cut it in half, peel that skin off, or the crunchy peel off, crunchy skin, peel back that layer, and cut it just into fourths. Okay, that'll give you some good wedge slices to be able to use on those skewers. So 1 onion. And I'm going to cut up 2. You might have more than you need. You can always use it to throw in some eggs for breakfast or other recipes that you're making throughout the week. In fact, one of my favorite meal prep tips is if you know what you're making for the week, or you know you're going to use onion in the recipe in the future, as long as you have it out, cut it up and throw it in a prep bowl, put it in your fridge and have it ready to go. It's going to save you lots of prep time during the week, and you can just kind of grab and go. So once again, I have it cut in half, and I'm going to cut it into quarters. So I have some nice big wedges here, and put those aside. So the recipe, if I remember reading it correctly, calls for these peppers to be cut into strips. I don't personally think that's the best idea for kebabs. So I'm going to recommend that you just take these and slice them up. Yep, Linda has it in her picture. Slice that up and then cut them into, like, you have a big chunk of pepper here, and cutting it into, camera down very well. There we go. Into kind of the square pieces that you can put good chunks once again on your kebabs. Okay. So we're going to slice all these up. I don't know, Linda, do you have any tool other than just a good old knife for cutting up peppers for kebabs? No? Okay. Yeah, this is one of those you're just gonna have to do some manual labor in the kitchen. No fun tools for it, but you get to see how great our knives are. And really, if you guys see me prepping here, having a good knife in your kitchen makes meal prep so much easier and safer for you. And trust me, when I go to stores now, when I go to like houses now, rental houses or hotels or condos, timeshares that don't have good knives, I definitely notice it. So I actually have a travel kit, and my utility knife or my Santoku knife is in my travel kit at all times, because it's just one thing that I always like having, as well as a good spoon that you can cook with, because they're always flimsy spoons at those places, you know, the ones that you stir with, those nylon ones, whatever they have that are just really cheap and plasticky. So if you ever need ideas for your on-the-go meal kit or kitchen utensil kit for vacation, please let me know. Okay, for your zucchini, this is a great opportunity again to pull out that rapid prep mandolin, to pull out your simple slicer or your quick slice again. So I am personally going to once again use the quick slice. These are going to do a little bit thinner slices. So you'll see I cut it into half, and I'm going to rock it. This is how I cut up cucumbers. And it gives, yeah.
I'm gonna just make one recommendation and then I'm gonna drop off.
Yeah.
Because I have a call at 8:30.
Okay.
So I did mine on my skewers.
Ooh, look at how pretty that is.
All right.
Are you gonna air fry those?
I am.
I love it.
A rotisserie. I'm gonna put them in the rotisserie.
Yes. Yes.
Yep. So that's for our dinner tonight, because my husband is starving and it's like almost 8:30. But look at how much I had left over. So I had a bunch of chicken left over, and I put peppers and onions. I had peppers and onions left over. I'm just gonna mix this all up, and this is gonna be stir fry one night.
Yes. So My mother-in-law loves using her rock grill stone and throwing that on the grill and giving it a nice smoky flavor, pita bread, some tzatziki sauce, and it is ready to go. So I love that you have some extras and can make a meal out of it.
Yep.
Awesome.
You guys have a good evening. I need to put this in my air fryer and drop off.
Okay, thanks,
Okay,
Linda.
bye.
Okay, so we'll keep finishing up here. You're going to take your squash or your zucchini. Again, you can kind of mix it up, put it into your pieces here. You can keep them whole like this, or you can coin them or cut them in half so they're a little easier bite size. And the smaller ones you can keep the way they are. And you're going to grab, once you're done cutting this up, your foil pan, your skewers, and your chicken. If you're somebody, again, that doesn't like touching raw meat, you could grab some plastic gloves to assemble. Okay, and olives. I keep forgetting the olives because, again, I don't love olives. So here we go. I'm going to grab a nice big, it says 2 medium tin foil pans. I'm using a nice big one here that I had left over. I'm going to grab my chicken out. Mix it up a little bit. And I'm actually going to take my coating trays so I can keep this stuff kind of separate over here and keep it contained. Okay, so you're going to grab your skewers. Reason that you want to soak them is it helps with keeping splinters out of them, okay, as you're putting them together. So that's why we had you guys use that tip. And all you're going to do is start putting in a pattern however you like your vegetables and your meat. So I'm going to kind of do a pattern of pepper, onion, squash. And be careful not to poke yourself. Chicken. And these are all going to be cooked, so you're going to do a little bit of cross contamination here. Not the end of the world. That will cook all the whatever raw chicken stuff off and have it ready to go. So these are fun. This is the first time I've done this kind of recipe on a freezer meal workshop, so I'll have to get some feedback from those of you watching, hear how you liked it. Too labor intensive, maybe good for a freezer or a meal prep workshop, or if you loved it for a freezer meal. And again, you can fill these as much or as little as you want. And I believe it said 6 to 8 skewers. I'm going to go till I'm done with my ingredients. So I'm going to keep going here and show you guys how to do 1 or 2 of them. And then I won't keep you guys on to watch me create all my kebabs at once, but you guys can keep going on your own and listen to that music or whatever you need to as you're making them. So I did about 3 pieces of chicken on 1 skewer with my vegetables. So once again, I'm going to take my peppers. You can take squash or zucchini, your onion, and chicken. If you are somebody and you're sitting here like, this is just way too labor intensive for my busy schedule to make these again, I recommend making this recipe, cutting up these vegetables just like we did here, and throwing them in the stir fry, just like Linda was suggesting, and you can serve it over, you can serve it over salad, you can eat it plain, you can serve it over rice, couscous, maybe some pasta, lots of different options, or you can serve it with your pita bread and some tzatziki sauce, and it is delicious Greek kebabs or stir fry. So throw on our next piece of pepper here. Just skewered myself. Careful not to skewer yourself. And some onion. Once again, another piece of chicken. Finish it up here. Okay, so second kebab done. Okay, so I'm gonna wash my hands and I am gonna finish up with you guys and then I'll keep prepping afterwards. But I want to thank you all for who joined, those of you who joined in our recording this month. I hope you learned some great recipes and tips, and I hope that you give us some feedback on how we can make your meal prep easier, anything that you loved or you didn't. And make sure you share these recipes on your social media. My handle is @PC with SPT. And so if you want to tag me in anything or drop my handle there, that is awesome. And if you have things that you really like, share it on social media and share it with our group. Tell us what you liked, what you served it with, and how your family liked it. So thanks guys again for joining me for Time at My Table. I'm Sam Thomas, and I'm going to go ahead and stop recording.